Hey friends, what is up and welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title of today's video, we're going to be going over my Feelgoodathon TBR. I am incredibly excited to be participating in this. If you guys saw the announcement video, I will list that down below, as well as the TBRs from all of our other hosts. But if you guys saw the video, you will know that this is basically a build your own kind of readathon. If you want to read one book, go for it. If you want to read all of the books, like a different book for each prompt, go for that as well. But I will list the Twitter down below so you guys can see all the prompts as well as that video if you'd like to know exactly what they are. The readathon is broken up into two parts. Today I'm only going to be covering the actual reading portion because the other prompts are more self-care related. And for me, when it comes to self-care, I don't necessarily want to pick and choose what I'm going to be doing now. Although I will say my intent is to do every single one of them because one cannot have too much self-care. But today we're going to be talking about the books that I have chosen to read and what prompts they do fulfill. I have a few, I think I have 5 books that I wanted to read. I am really excited though because a lot of these have been on my TBR for quite a while. A couple of them are new, one of them is really hyped, so I'm going to go ahead and get started and go over them with you. The first one that I have to talk about is a book that you have high hopes for, and that would be Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. I read the first book last year, I believe, and absolutely loved it. I think Spencer is one of the most interesting characters that I've ever read, and her story is really cool as well because her mom and her grandma are cast out of society because they live on this planet. There's a bunch of people that live on this planet, and basically they are trying to protect themselves from these aliens that come to kill them. And her dad is a part of a flight school. He's basically in the military and he is a fighter pilot, and he betrays everybody apparently. And throughout the story they are trying to prove if he's done it, and Spencer really wants to follow in his footsteps because she doesn't believe that he would do something like that, but she's unable to do it because they believe that in some way she is tainted because of her dad. And there's so much character growth and so much, I don't know, backstory in this that it kind of blew my mind that it was YA, and it just goes to show when people say YA isn't important that maybe they're just reading really bad YA, because I truly love this, and I have such high hopes for the second one because it is my first book by Brandon that I think I've read all the way through. I tried to read Elantris and was so bored, and people are like, well, you shouldn't have started with that book because it's really kind of you have to drudge through it. But really excited to read this one. We'll see what I think of it, but chances are I'm absolutely going to love it, so that's really good. The next one I have here is Finish or Continue a Series, and I'm going to be buddy reading this with Meg, and I'm really excited because Meg and I read the first one together. I'll list her channel down below, by the way. But we read the first one together and loved the buddy read and loved the book so much that we were like, okay, well, we're definitely going to read the second one when it comes out, and it'd be Aurora Burning. And Aurora Burning has been on my TBR basically since they announced there was going to be a release, since I found out that it was going to be a series, and I'm super excited because I love these characters so incredibly much, and I read the Illuminate Files and really enjoyed it, but for me the Illuminate Files became kind of repetitive. Each book that I read seemed very similar to what the next one or what the previous one was. It was a lot of oh, are they gonna make it? And then they made it, and it was a lot of love story and stuff, which I did like the aspects of that. But for me, I feel like this series has a lot more depth to it. It does have a similar feel, but you can kind of tell how Jay and Amy's writing style has changed and how they have grown as writers, and I really like that and I really appreciate it. So I know I'm going to like this, and I'm really excited to buddy read it with Meg. I'm also kind of nervous because my favorite character is on the front of it, and I feel like that may be alluding to something terrible, as well as if you have this copy and you've read the first one, if you look at the back of it, it just rips your heart out over and over again, and I don't know, they're really good at that, and they didn't hold back in the first one, so we'll see how much they hold back in the second one. The next one that I'm going to be doing is a book with my favorite trope. I cannot talk today, I am so sorry. For that I chose You Deserve Each Other, which is touted as not necessarily a hate to love romance, which is one of my favorite kinds of tropes, but it is more of a characters who know that they're going to get married and then they decide that they don't want to get married, but because they don't necessarily love each other, and they are trying to essentially piss each other off enough that one of them will call off the wedding, because there are repercussions depending on who calls it off. If he does or if she does, one of them is going to take the L. So for me, I'm really excited to read this because apparently the characters spend a lot of time attempting to piss off the other character enough that they will call off the wedding so that they don't necessarily have to. And for me, that just sounds really funny because apparently they fall in love in the end because of that. And I've read some pretty negative reviews of this book and I'm hoping that I like it, but we'll just have to see. But I don't know, I hope I like it, because it sounds like a made-for-TV movie that I would love, and I would love to like have like a good comforting romance book to read like while I'm doing all of this. The next one that we have here, the next one that I'm going to be participating in, is to read one of the host's favorite books. And if you go to Twitter or Instagram, the lists are there of, we picked 5 for each of us basically, but I'm reading one of Brianna's, and if I don't like it, coming for her. But this one is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. A lot of you guys have read this and loved it. A lot of people have said, Jess, I can't believe you haven't read this. What are you doing? You need to read it. You would love it. But here's the thing. I read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid and really didn't like it. And the thing was, I liked the writing style, I just didn't like the character. From what I've heard, Evelyn Hugo is an amazing character, so I'm hoping I'll really like it, because I feel like Taylor has a really good writing style, but I'm nervous that her characters won't appeal to me, or they'll feel drug out or there to cause conflict, which is really how I felt about Daisy. So I'm hoping her writing style holds up and that I do really like this, because from what I've heard, it's a fantastic story, that Evelyn is a great character. The story that's told is really beautiful and in-depth, and really makes you think and feel. And that's really what I want from this readathon. So we'll see what I end up thinking about it. The last book that I'm reading is actually, to suffice, the buddy read prompt, and that is going to be Little Fires Everywhere. I've had this on my TBR for a very long time. I'm actually reading this with The Curious Owl. I will leave her channel and her Twitter down below. You guys should definitely check her out. But I sent her a physical copy of this recently. If you follow me on Twitter, I did like I'm going to send, people books, because I got a little bit of extra money and kind of wanted to spread a little bit of love. And I did send her a physical copy of this, and she was like, oh, I've read that, but I would love to buddy read it with you, because when I sent it to her, I said buddy read ? Because I've been trying to buddy read with more people, people that I don't necessarily know or get to talk to, because I feel like that's a really great way to get like insight into, who they are. And she said she'd like to buddy read it with me because she listened to an audiobook, but wants to see, if she loves it as much as she thought she did the first time around. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I don't know, I'm really excited to get to know her a little bit better. And I'm really excited to get to experience a book that I've had on my TBR for a really long time that she's already read and loved, and to be able to like bounce ideas off of her, or, if I get confused, like be able to ask her something. Because Celeste has she does a really good job of writing like day-to-day menial things that characters do, but making them seem very important, and I love that kind of writing. So I'm excited to read this with her, and I'm just excited to finally get to this book. But that is my TBR for the readathon. Like I said, I'll list the other hosts' channels down below. Their TBRs are going up at the same time as mine. Should be up by now when you guys see this. But I am so excited for this readathon, you guys. I'm excited to just get to hang out with you and read some good books and do reading sprints and connect with people. But I'm mostly going to be over on Twitter and possibly Instagram, but mostly Twitter. I am going to be vlogging the entire thing, so you'll get to kind of see what self-care prompts I decide to do, and what I think of these books, and hopefully I can read all of them in 2 weeks. If I do, this might be the most that I've read in a really long time. But let me know down below if you guys are participating in a book that you are excited to read, or a self-care prompt that you're excited to fulfill, whatever it may be. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Hey friends, what is up, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be making this video. As you guys can tell, this is going to be explaining the Feelgoodathon, a pipe dream that was born from a tweet that I had posted where I said basically I was going to be creating a readathon where you could read